A workaholic woman decides to give her husband a robotic companion to satisfy his needs. However, this decision might destroy not only their marriage, but also their lives. At the district courthouse, Megan Newman watches an automated piano play. Her defense attorney, Peggy, arrives, telling her client that the prosecution just added 2 more witnesses to the case, so they need to discuss their strategy before they begin. Months ago, Megan's friends held a toast to her achievement in closing the biggest deal of her career. As a producer for the music company Cascadia, she managed to finally convince legendary musician Ari Phillips to give them the rights to his songs to produce a modernized album by using AI technology. Megan thanked her right-hand man and AI prompter Vince for helping her close the deal. She also made a speech about how AI wasn't destroying the music industry, but was helping improve it. The others agree, though Megan's husband John stayed quiet through the celebrations. A robotic waiter then approached to offer them dessert, and Megan thanked it. Rachel then shared how she still found it baffling how Cascadia was able to produce good music using AI, when most produce awful ones. Vince explained that it was because Cascadia hired actual musicians like him to prompt the system, allowing them to use their understanding of music to guide the technology. Megan added that musicians make the best prompters while directing her attention to John. Knowing what was on her mind, her husband refused. Vince lamented that John refused to be a prompter since he believed AI-produced music was soul-crushing. John added that he found it ridiculous that Vince was guiding technology that virtually replaced him as a musician. In contrast,
that's
John
facts.
was now proud to be a gardener. Megan joked that she never would have guessed that a star musician like her husband would ultimately become a farmer, and John just reminded her that they've had a good life. However, he would have preferred it if they had a kid. Megan awkwardly laughed at this, brushing it off. As the couple were taken home by their self-driving car, Megan confronted her husband about bringing up the topic of kids in front of their friends. John apologized.
AI is controlling everything in this.
One would make their home complete. Megan reminded him that they'd agreed on having one next year after she'd finalized her deal. She wanted to ensure that her career was steady before taking a leave to start a family. John assured her that she wouldn't need to take a leave.
The problem is sometimes you get too old and your eggs are no good, lady.
He'd be a full-time dad. Still, Megan asserted that they'd have a kid next year instead. That night, John found his wife still working in bed. He tried to initiate some intimacy.
That's rough.
But she was too tired from work to fulfill his desires.
That's rough.
Quickly, John gave up, and seeing his sour mood, Megan offered to let him do what he wanted with her. John refused, given that she won't be into it. He then asked if they'd ever be intimate again, and Megan promised that they would. However, she'd been working too much to have any time or energy. Given this interaction, Megan headed to the robotics company Humanix the next day to meet her robotics engineer sister, Lila. Surprised, Lila asked what Megan wanted, knowing that she had an agenda given that she'd never visited her in the last 7 years.
Right?
Megan came clean and recalled that Lila was working on a robotic technology called the Intimacy Companion. Lila confirmed, adding that they were already heading to beta testing the robots. Megan wondered if the companion would be good for husbands who weren't getting action from their wives. This surprised Lila, so Megan admitted that she hadn't had much drive since she'd been working constantly. She felt guilty that John wasn't getting any action, so she wondered if she could get a companion for him.
Okay.
Lila clarified that they already had the test group selected, having vetted them based on psych evaluations. However, Megan insisted that her sister could discreetly slip John's file into the test group. When Lila adamantly refused, Megan started making a silly face, using their childhood bond to convince her sister. Soon enough, Megan approached John in his greenhouse.
Got him the
He asked her
robot
to help him with his plants, but she refused, pointing out her expensive outfit. Instead, she asked him to follow.
That's all she cares about.
Surprise. In their foyer, John found a pod that he mistook for a coffin.
I mean, they're
When
rich.
he opened it, he found a beautiful female robot inside. Megan explained that she got him an intimate companion as an anniversary present, but John was offended by the idea.
He doesn't. Homie doesn't like AI. Why would he think he's gonna like this? Bruh, this girl has no clue.
Megan tried to reason that Lila needed more subjects for the testing period, and given that they hadn't had much connection lately, she thought about signing him up. Despite this, John was angered that she thought he'd like it.
No clue.
Megan reasoned that since she was overworked, she felt guilty of having him feel left out. However, John asserted that he wanted intimacy from her, not
from a robot. Yeah.
Just then, Megan received a call from Vince, reminding her that she needed to approve a presentation. Before she left, John asked his wife to have her sister recall the robot in the morning, asserting that he didn't want it. Sympathizing with him, Megan apologized for assuming what he wanted before leaving. In the present, the court session begins. Prosecutor Brian tells the jury that the accused, Megan, illegally acquired an untested machine and ignored its warning signs, thus resulting in her husband's death.
Wait.
On the morning that the intimacy companion was to be recalled, John was left alone in his home as
Hold on. A husband's death. Homeboy died?
always. He sat by their grand piano, missing the times he played music. Just then, the Humanix crew called him to confirm that the companion would be picked up soon. Given this and his loneliness, John curiously opened the pod again to examine the robot. It awakened at his touch, explaining to him that it was designed to synchronize with him. Surprised, John helped it out of the pod, noticing how
Looks like a real. Yeah, it looks real.
The companion explained that it was made
Hella
of
real.
material to closely mimic human skin. Adding to this, it was designed to read his mood based on his body responses. This allowed it to judge that he was curious about its services. Ashamed, John pulled away, asserting that he was returning it to Humanix. Hearing this, the robot asked to look around his home before it left. John allowed it, so the robot gazed at his piano. It knew about his music career, starting from when he auditioned for Juilliard. He then left
Got no
Juilliard
butt
to
though. They
start
gotta give her some more butt, bro.
but he hadn't played in 8 years.
Definitely some
The
more butt.
robot then wandered into his greenhouse, complementing his technique to ensure a large fruit yield. John was surprised about how much it knew.
It's a robot, knows
momentarily
everything.
forgetting that it was a robot. The companion explained that its knowledge was based on human thoughts, ideas, and discoveries, so it wasn't that different from actual humans. However, John commented how people who lost jobs because of robots would beg to differ. The
Yeah.
robot then asked for its name, and after giving it much thought, John named her after the first woman, Eve. Unable to push down his attraction to her, John declared that he loved his wife. However, Eve reminded him that his wife was the one who bought it so he could use
Yeah.
it. Just in time,
Whatever you
the
want.
staff from Humanix arrived, but John hesitated in sending Eve away. In the courtroom months later, Peggy addresses the jury, highlighting how Megan is a highly successful woman who desperately tried to balance the demands of both her professional and personal life.
I want to know what
She
happened.
insists that the only mistake Megan made was trusting Humanix, a $500 billion company focused more on avoiding accountability while not allowing a widow to grieve. These words remind Megan of the night she found that the companion was still in their home, charging. She went to her husband to ask him about it, and John admitted that he changed his mind about the robot. Megan was glad that he finally enjoyed the companion, pressing him to share his experience. Awkwardly, John confessed that it was good, though still different from being with his wife. He then gave her credit for being right about this, even assuring her that he'd let Megan rest tonight since Eve had already worn him out. Both the comment and the name baffled Megan.
Word 'em out.
On another
God
day,
damn.
Vince presented the modernized versions of Aries' songs to Megan. The woman, however, thought it didn't have a
I'm telling you, I can see this becoming something really soon. Like near future, women are gonna get replaced by robots. I'm telling you, because men just want peace and quiet and someone that listens. And if the robot listens, bro, it's over for women.
heart, despite Vince pointing out that their algorithm predicted that it'd be a hit. She insisted on tweaking the music, asserting that Ari might pull out of the deal if they didn't impress him. Months later, Vince is called in as a witness to Megan's case. He shares to the court that he and John were college friends and bandmates. They met Megan when she was still a junior A&R executive for Cascadia, who offered to sign them into the company. He and John jumped at the opportunity, but they only produced one successful album. John blamed AI music for destroying the industry, hence why he refused to be a prompter for Cascadia. With this, Brian highlights how Megan's career took off just as her husband's crashed. On the night after Vince presented her with the modernized songs, Megan was surprised to hear her husband playing the piano again. However, she was horrified to see that he was playing for Eve. John
Doesn't like
mentioned
it.
that Eve asked him to play since it had never heard a real piano before. However, Megan commented how he was using Eve for more than intimacy. Her husband was surprised that she was jealous, and Megan
Right?
admitted that she was. However, she wondered if this was a good thing since it made her want her husband more than ever. With this, the married couple finally enjoyed some private time. After
All
the
right.
deed, Megan was optimistic that the companion might have actually made them appreciate each other better. Back in the courtroom,
Right?
Lila
About
is called to the
damn time. Like, took your robot to figure out that you need your husband, bro? Something's wrong with you, my guy. For me, I if my girl doesn't sleep with me, I don't, and you know, I think something's wrong. She's not attracted to me anymore. I feel like something's wrong. I feel like we gotta sit down and have a talk, and let her know, like, listen, we ain't gonna do it. Maybe it's time we introduce somebody else into the relationship. Just saying.
Stand. She recounts how she was fired from Humanix due to her enrolling John into the intimacy companion testing program without proper screening. She also recalls how Megan asked her to put John on the list since she hasn't had time to fulfill her husband's desires. Brian asks her if the robot helped their marriage, and Lila says it did. However, it was only momentarily. The morning after they finally rekindled their intimacy, Megan came home from a jog, only to find her husband using his companion in the greenhouse. Angered, she later confronted him about using Eve right after they finally became intimate again. John reminded her that this was her idea, so she shouldn't make him feel like he was cheating. Megan relented and just reminded him about their dinner with Ari Phillips tonight, which John forgot about. She insisted that this was the biggest deal of her career, so she needed him to support her. As she was leaving for work, Megan was surprised to find Eve glitching and dropping glasses in the kitchen. Panicked, Megan called for her husband and tried to stop the robot, only for the companion to accidentally hit her. John finally arrived and rebooted Eve, recognizing that it was glitching. Megan asked if
that's some scary shit
before, but her husband only assured her that he could handle things, urging her to go to work. That night, John got ready to attend dinner with his wife, only to find Eve playing his piano in the living room.
All dressed, ready to go.
At Cascadia, Ari Phillips and his son Jake arrive. Vince and Megan welcome them, with the woman offering to play the songs they'd generated. She encouraged that the modernized version was more like a fresh coat of paint to the original, but Ari recalled how she mentioned that given their business, nothing was precious. This made Megan guilty, but she brushed it off to proceed with dinner. Hours later, Megan found her husband appreciating the music that Eve was playing for him. She ordered the robot to get out, and her guilty husband motioned for his companion to go to her charging pad. With that, Megan confronted him about missing dinner, and all John could say was, he was sorry.
Well, yeah, still, like the robot better.
All she asked him was to—
I'm telling you, women are gonna get replaced by robots. The robot listens, takes care of you, takes care of your needs, bro. Women will get replaced by robots so quick.
To support her career, but her husband pointed out that she didn't support his.
Yeah.
Megan insisted that it wasn't her fault that he and every other composer were getting replaced by AI, but John stressed that she could have tried something to prevent that.
But she
Megan
didn't.
Thought the robot was making him doubt her, believing that they had been happy before. However, John confessed that he wasn't happy at all. Hearing this, Megan wondered if he wanted a divorce, and the man admitted that he didn't know.
Because she's always busy, always at work.
Unhappy, but now he was. Defeated, Megan stormed off, deciding to stay with Lila for now. Later, Lila met her grieving sister at the bar. A robotic waiter offered to show them to a table, but the pissed Megan shoved the machine before heading to the table. This made the robot momentarily glitch. Seated, Megan begged her sister to take Eve back.
Wow.
Lila reminded
something's wrong with these robots.
The rules to get the robot into her home, and taking it back now might reveal that. This could destroy her and her co-workers' careers. Megan insisted that Eve was evil, but Lila reminded her that it was a machine. Still,
this program.
Megan believed that it was destroying her marriage. Hesitantly, Lila commented that if John were to leave her, it was because of Megan's selfishness. The woman noted how their marriage had always been about how it looked for her career.
He called her out. I like that. Sister's calling her out.
With this, Lila advised her sister that if she wanted John to stay with her, Megan needed to do something for him. Recalling this conversation, Lila tells the courtroom how, on that night, her sister finally realized that she needed to give her husband a child. With this, she accompanied Megan to the IVF clinic, where she and John stored their embryos. This finally got Megan pregnant with twins. After confirming her pregnancy, Megan went to John to surprise him. She started explaining how their time apart allowed her to gain perspective on their relationship. She even gave credit to Eve for letting her see her shortcomings as a wife.
How do you get rid of her?
She announced her pregnancy, but John didn't share her enthusiasm. Megan urged him that they could finally be parents, and that she was willing to step back from her.
He does want to get rid of Eve now.
However, John revealed that he had decided to get a divorce since he wanted to be with Eve.
He's in love with Eve.
Megan was baffled that he chose a robot over her. So John explained that in their weeks apart, he realized that they never truly connected. He was now in love with Eve, asserting that it felt good having someone who was actually interested in him. Heartbroken, Megan reminded him that Eve was a machine, so it didn't have any desires or needs. Just then, Eve arrived, and John approached the robot, apologizing to his wife. Enraged, Megan grabbed a bottle and smashed it over John's head. She then watched helplessly as John bled out. Months later, Peggy continues interrogating.
Oh shit! She killed her husband, bro! Here thinking it was the robot. God damn, I wonder what the robot did.
Interrogating Lila about the events. Lila shares that she learned about John's death when Megan called her. After the call, Lila rushed to the house where
The
Megan
robot did
explained
nothing.
that she lost control. Shocked, she considered calling the police, but Megan pointed out that this could get her imprisoned, and her children would be sent away.
Well, yeah, you killed
Because
your
of
husband.
this, Lila and Megan had been lying about what happened that night. Instead of confessing to how Megan accidentally killed her husband, they put the blame on Eve. At the courthouse, Lila claims that she retrieved Eve's memory card, which had been degraded due to the robot's malfunction. However, she managed to recover some of the recordings to explain what happened. The court then brings Eve in to play the recording. The records show Eve's perspective of her time with John, including their intimate times. It then plays when Megan announced her pregnancy, but instead of John rejecting his wife, it shows Eve grabbing the bottle and hitting him with it. This ultimately acquits Megan from any wrongdoing, allowing her to go free.
Oh
After
shit.
the trial, Peggy addresses the press, asserting that the case is a reminder of how tech companies have been manipulating the truth to profit off the
shit.
public. As this is happening, Megan spots her sister exiting the courthouse. She catches up with her to thank her,
Because she knows what really happened. That's what happened. She knows what really happened.
but Lila isn't interested in her gratitude, given that she destroyed her career to save her. Megan insists that she will carry the guilt of killing John for the rest of her life, but Lila argues that at least she still has a successful career to support her. Meanwhile, Lila remains unemployed and unable to get a new job. With this, Megan offers to hire her into Cascadia as their CTO, but Lila refuses to work for her. Despite this, Megan begs her sister, pulling at her heartstrings to manipulate her into giving her one more pass.